Hello everyone, welcome to the steering team training for SI2 Cycle 2 and 3 schools. The topic of today's video is the Interim Intervention Evaluation. My name is Sue Reynolds and I am president of the American Student Achievement Institute. Okay, let's begin with odds and ends. One thing that we wanted to bring to your attention, this actually just happened earlier today, December 2nd, and we wanted to give you a heads up about this. As I think all of the SI2 schools know, it was previously announced by DOE that the new DOE statewide template, which was originally announced would apply to all schools, was then announced to be required only for focus and priority schools. So we have, I think, 16 focus and priority schools in SI2, so those schools have been waiting to hear from us about how to integrate their work with us with the new statewide template. However, we wanted to make you aware of this that just happened this morning or this afternoon. Senate Bill 500 is a bill that created a committee called the Data Reporting Committee. And that committee is charged with making recommendations to the state board regarding the data that schools are required to collect. And it specifically states including the SIP template. So today, the committee made a recommendation to the board about the SIP template, and the state board was asked to approve a motion requiring all Title I focus and priority schools to use a unified SIP template. And after the motion was made, there was a lot of silence, and the motion did not receive a second. So there was some discussion about the state template. Several board members reported that schools had contacted them and that they wanted to choose their own SIP process and template and not be forced to use one unified statewide template. And then a couple of board members also had questions about Advanced Ed being a sole source provider for this template. And as a sole source provider, then there was not the requirement that DOE call for bids on the project. And of course, we would have loved to have bid on the project and feel that our template is good and should be able to be used. So it was a very interesting meeting to observe. Our message as we talk with everyone is our position is that schools should be allowed to choose their own template, their school improvement plan template and their school improvement plan process. And we'd also be very interested in seeing in being allowed to have us just do a data transfer of our school's goals and interventions to the Department of Education on behalf of the SI2 schools. So that way there would be absolutely no additional work for SI2 schools. You would simply use our vision action process and our school improvement management system, and then we would just transfer the data to DOE on your behalf. So I guess the message is stay tuned, and the board is scheduled to discuss this again at the January meeting, and in the meantime, Superintendent Ritz suggested that they provide additional information for the board. And I'm sure that many of our schools, as well as I know the Principals Association, is also talking with the board about having schools be allowed to have choice in terms of the school improvement planning process and template that works best for them. So stay tuned. We will be at the January board meeting, and we'll keep you posted. Okay, also want to give you just a heads up again on the Indiana Conference on Learning. We'll have more information about this for you in the next week or so, but the date is February 17th, and you can register now, so we hope you will do that. Also, we hope you will submit session proposals. We're still collecting those, so we'd love to hear you talk about the interventions that you're using in your school to raise student achievement. We know that you guys are doing great things, and we would love you to share that with other schools. Okay, also heads up, the small learning community this month is December 3rd at 2:30, and you can go to the SI2 website to register for that. We had a good discussion in the last meeting. The focus again, the format again will just be to answer questions that you have, and we'll also kind of highlight a little bit the discussion that your School Improvement Council will have during the month of December. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and talk about facilitating this month's discussion. This will be a relatively, I think, easy discussion, and let's talk about it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is go to the process page, and I guess let me back up and just add one additional thought on this screen. The reason that it's so easy this month, I think, is that it's actually not a discussion. It's more like a survey. What we're wanting to do is to get everybody's opinion about the degree to which your interventions are being implemented and the degree to which they're having an impact on the adult practices that they were designed to impact. So it's really when your council gets into the online system, instead of a discussion, it'll be just a survey, and the survey will be tallied as people are completing it, so they can kind of see what their peers are saying. So, okay, so with that, let's get into the actual process page. And let's see, I'm gonna go here. Nope, I want to go here. Okay. So when your council goes in, when they log in, this is the page that they're going to see. When you watch the council video, you'll see that we've introduced this page for them. And basically, I just want to show you that they're going to review the interventions that you have planned, and then they're going to come down to a series of questions. So your first intervention will be listed. There's a description of it. And then we've also told them who's responsible locally to make sure that that intervention gets in place, what the implementation dates are, what you're going to count to see if the adult practices really did change, what the baseline data is, and then what the target data is. And then we just ask questions, and the first question is, from your observation, is the intervention being implemented? Second question is, what makes you think this? And then is the intervention impacting the adult practice? Yes or no? What makes you think that? And then the final question is asking, what adjustments do we need to make to this intervention to make it even better? So that's it. So basically, we're asking for each of the interventions, we're asking your council to give you feedback in 3 areas. The first one is, was the intervention implemented fully and with integrity? Second one is, did the intervention have an impact on the adult practices that you were trying to change? And then the third question is basically, what adjustments do we need to make to the intervention to make it even stronger? So, okay, so that's it, pretty simple. The setup for it is simple as well, and let's go there and we can look at that. Okay, so I'm in the process page now, and again, if you're new to all of this, maybe you've just joined your school's steering team, to get to the process page, you would just click on SI2 process. That will bring you up to this page. Then we're going to scroll down to December, and so we're still making these buttons hot. By tomorrow, all of these buttons will be hot. But basically, you're going to watch the council discussion prompt, and that's probably less than 10 minutes long. And then the prompt that we're doing right now for the steering team will be linked here. participate in the live briefing and the Q&A. That again is December 3rd at 2:30, and you can click here to register for that. And then opening and monitoring the discussion is the same as it's been the past several months. So you will open the discussion same way you have open past discussions, and then monitor it the same way as well. Don't forget, on that monitoring page, there is a link to a report that will help you understand who's participating in this month in the survey. You know, who's engaging in that and who's not. And we strongly recommend that for your folks that are not engaging, that you send them emails. You just click a button and it goes right out to them, re-inviting them to participate in the discussions, or in this month's case, the survey. So you'll enter the council discussion summary. So you know what the heads up, what the heads up ideas are from all of that survey information. You'll put a summary in, and then the student body discussion summary. I'll share with you in a minute what the student body prompt is. And then finally, please make sure that you're looking at the rubric items. And if I open up those on the intervention progress, that we'll have those up tomorrow, but it's basically we want to make sure that everybody is engaging in that discussion. So those rubric items will be here, and make sure please that you've addressed those. Okay, then just a couple more things. So this video is going to be pretty quick. A couple of notes. First of all, please remember that you have to have all of your 2015-16 interventions in the system so that people can then start to give you feedback on how well they're being implemented. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for any of the SI2 schools. I think you're all fine with that, but I just wanted to make sure that we had talked about that. So also, just a reminder that if you have opted to have face-to-face discussions instead of doing those discussions online, which you could do, you could talk face-to-face with people about each of the interventions and ask them, if what they see that is showing that the intervention is being implemented or is having an impact on adult practices, and what adjustments they think need to be made. You could have that discussion face-to-face instead of online. Now, but the one thing we want you to remember, this is really important, is that if you decide to have a face-to-face discussion, you still need to open the discussion online so that you can put the summaries in, and so the system works properly. So please make sure you open the discussion, even if you're going to have a face-to-face talk. Okay, the student body prompt, again, this could be a small group discussion, or this could also be a writing prompt. We want to introduce students to 3 to 5 of the school's planned interventions for the year. And then for each intervention, we're going to ask the students 2 questions. What have you seen that makes you think this intervention is in place? I think that could be eye-opening if the intervention is going along and the kids don't know it. That may or may not, be important information. And then finally, we're asking the kids, what could we do to make the implementation of this intervention even better? So we'll get the kids' feedback on that as well. And again, this could be a writing prompt, or it could be small group discussions. That's up to each school. So, and then finally, looking ahead, we know that your interventions are going to last all year, but our focus on the implementation of them has been on first semester. We wanted to make sure that the interventions got kicked off well, and that 3 or 4 months in December, you're checking to make sure, are the interventions humming? Are they implemented like we want them to be, and are they having the impact that we want them to have? So, okay, so even though we're not going to stop implementing the interventions, our focus now in second semester is going to shift into updating your school improvement plan so that it becomes a school improvement plan for 2016-17. So in January, we will start working on your 2016-17 school improvement plan. And remember, if you're not a focus or if you're not a Title I focus or priority school, you are being allowed to use whatever process and template you want to use, and it'll work just like it's worked in past years. So you can continue to use our things, and then we'll upload the SIP to DOE. Okay, but if you are a Title I focus and priority school, I would suggest that you go ahead and start the work. We are being told over and over again ourselves by DOE, and the state board was told many times today, that the template is simply a place where you're going to drop in your goals and your activities. We've also heard that was said many times to the state board today. They also said that schools have the freedom to use whatever process they want to. It's just that the products of the process, the goals and the activities, will be dropped into this template. So even if you're a Title I focused priority school, I feel pretty comfortable with you going ahead and implementing our process to write your 16-17 plan. So if I were in your shoes, I would go ahead and start that work. So okay, so just real quickly, in January, you're going to update goals. In February, you'll update your root causes. In March, you'll update your interventions. And then in April and May, you'll update your preparation for implementing those interventions in 16-17. So again, it's unlike the year one, we're not starting from scratch. So we're just going to say, okay, let's look at our goals. Let's look at our new achievement data. Do the goals that we wrote last year, do they still make sense? And if not, we'll tweak them. We can, edit them. We can add them, add new ones. We can omit the ones we have. We're just going to update your goals. Same thing with your root causes. We'll look at a new set of we'll have you review your root cause data. We will not be doing another survey. We only do that every 3 years. But we'll look at your root cause data again, and we'll look at your adjusted goals and make sure that the root causes are the ones that make sense for your updated goals. Then in March, we'll update your interventions. We'll look again at your interventions. We'll assess them again to see, are they having the impact that we want them to have? We'll update those. And then depending on what interventions you end up with in April and May, we'll do the preparation for those interventions. So we'll plan out your professional development and all the things that you do to make sure that those interventions are implemented well. So, okay, so I think that's it. Also, finally, don't forget that Tina is there for you. We've had very good comments from schools about Tina's work. Her job is to answer any questions that you have, to review your work. So she'll be reviewing your intervention evaluations, to make suggestions, maybe ask you to tweak some things based on our past experience with what can get in the way down the road. And then also her job is to do friendly reminders, or to, in other words, nag you. So I think that's one of the things of value that we bring to the table, is that we're constantly kind of watching to make sure that the work gets done. We know that in schools it's really easy to let school improvement kind of slide to the back burner, as there's so many other things in demanding your attention. So we're there with the timeline, and then we're there with friendly reminders to make sure that you're doing the work in a way that will make it good work. So okay, I think that's it. I will sign out, and I will talk to everybody in January as we start to design your 16-17 plans, and we wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Thank you so much.